Okay, we're all being mindful of the time. I'm going to try to tuck in one more question. I think I've picked sort of a short one. We have a stack of questions that haven't been asked, so please grab these folks by the lapel and ask them out there. But I think this can be done short, so could we just give everybody 30 seconds for this? Mr. Matthews starts. Does the state's attorney's office provide adequate pay to retain good lawyers? Bearing in mind the county's need to toe the line on spending, what would you do to improve retention? 30 seconds for everybody.
What I would do to improve retention is to raise morale. Raise morale in the office to make certain incentives on behalf on the assistants who work for us, to make sure that every day they're encouraged to come and do their job, to come and prosecute on behalf of the county and to do the best that they can. I think moving them around to different divisions more often so that they can get adequate training and experience will go a long way in building that morale, and then make sure that we have the proper fit for the proper unit.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you. I think leadership will help improve morale. I think government salaries are traditionally going to be low, but the benefits are still there. And I also think, there have been many developments with grants and federal programs to encourage career prosecutors to stay. When I was hired at $27,000 a year, which was less than I had made before I ever went to law school. We shouldn't require of our public servants a vow of poverty. I think the state's attorney can be an advocate for the budget to increase, because if you look at the consequences on the back door, there are tens of millions of dollars of liabilities that come about if we get this wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Nerheim. Ms. Hayes. Oh, whoops. Oh, that was, sorry, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Nerheim. Thanks, everybody.
Well, nobody goes into public service for the money. I think the pay is pretty good. It's competitive with the private sector, and what we need to do is to increase morale. We need to help people move through the office quicker so they're not stuck in the same division for years at a time, and increase training. We have some of the finest prosecutors in the state here in Lake County, and I know because I go up against these guys every day in court, and we should all be proud to have them.
Thank you.
I agree with Mike Nerheim that the salaries are pretty competitive with a lot of the other state's attorneys around the state as well. Improving morale is vital, I think, with new leadership that is going to come. I agree with Mr. Matthews in changing and moving around some of our assistants so they get the opportunity to work in other divisions is always a good way to create positive morale. And there are a lot of other things that we can do.
Thank you. Ms. Williams?
I think that one of the things that, well, as far as the pay is concerned, I have to agree with Mr. Winter in that. You didn't answer that question first. Well, okay,
Mr. Matthews.
I agree with Mr. Winter already. So I agree with Mr. Matthews, and now I have to make it quick, or whoever said it, that while the pay may not be very high, as one of my other constituents, I'm done trying to call names, has stated that that the benefits, oh my goodness, that the benefits are great. I think that interns and volunteer attorneys are a great way to help to improve that.
Thank you. Mr. Winter.
Actually, the pay is relatively good. Unfortunately, the legal profession right now is in a downturn, and part of the problem in the office is in the past where people would move up, they could start out and then be in the felony division in a short period of time. That isn't happening because there aren't a lot of private jobs. And so as a result, pay is not an issue, but I think complacency sometimes, if you're stuck at the same position, there has to be strategies to make sure that they are having a fulfilling career.
Thank you. So we're going to do our summation now in the exact reverse order. If I can manage it, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard. But we will begin with Mr. Winter, then Ms. Williams, Ms. Hayes, etc., back up the other direction. 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. As to that last issue, there's been a number of responses talked about leadership. And I really think that that is a quality that I've had the opportunity, and maybe it's just a function of age. At 52, I'm the oldest candidate. But I've had the opportunity to work with large law firms, to have metrics to measure how performance and to find out where certain departments need to have help. I've also, in my capacity at the villages, every week I'm at a staff meeting, and I'm there to provide that legal support and help staff accomplish what they have to accomplish. That's very important, and that comes from leadership. I also think, and before I considered running, I had to make an assessment as to my abilities for this position, and I looked at the state statute and all the requirements, and it turned out that my work experience really matches all the responsibility of the job. And so I can promise you that at 52, I'm not going to be worried about the next election. What I'm going to focus on is doing the right thing, to make the hard decisions, to bring new leadership, have a fresh approach. This would be the first time there's been a change in leadership in 22 years. It's a significant time, and we want to utilize that time, and that would be my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Williams.
The people of Lake County want something different. And the reason that I know this is because they told me overwhelmingly when they gladly signed my petitions when I was circulating in order to enter this race. So a couple of people have pointed out in their opening statements that you don't need an administrator in order to run the state's attorney's office, and I beg to disagree. You need not only an attorney, not only courtroom experience, both of which I have, and all of which the statute requires is that you be a licensed attorney, but also you need administrative experience, which I do have. So in my opening statement, I let you know what my qualifications were as far as my education and my practical training were. So now I'm going to tell you what all of that means. What it means is that I have blend and balance. What it means is that I have formal training and practical experience. What it means is that I can litigate in a courtroom and I can propagate in a boardroom. What it means is that I can prepare for a case and I can train a staff. It means that I can work, negotiate, and advocate in diverse environments and with diverse people. It means that I can run the office of state's attorney. I'm not the status quo. I don't have any ties to stick to and no promises to keep to anybody who works around me. I can go in with a fresh approach, fresh eyes, shake things up, and run the office. And I ask that you remember that on March 20th.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes?
Our office has 145 employees, 70 attorneys, 60 of which do criminal. We have investigators, we have victim counselors. I heard somebody say we're going to do outreach. We do outreach. We have the Be Safe program, we have programs in the schools, we have the task force, we have MCAT. Our chiefs of police meet every month with our state's attorney. So for everyone to get up here and tell you what they're going to do, I'm amazed because I'm in the office and I see what we do on a daily basis. If you want to be the public servant, which is what I have been for 20-something years, why aren't you in here with me? Why aren't you in here battling it out every day, taking care of this community, listening to victims and prosecuting criminals? I have the most and the best experience to run this office. I've been doing this public servant work for 20+ years. I've raised my children. I live in Lake Bluff with my husband of almost 25 years. I'll have 2 kids in college and 2 kids in high school. I don't need to belong to any teen court. I've got teenagers. I've got college students. I know that people make mistakes. I know what things in the office work, and I know what doesn't work. And for people to sit up here saying what they woulda, coulda, shoulda done when they don't work in our office, I'm asking you to look at all our websites, check out who has the most experience to run this office and to change it the way that it needs to be changed, because I'm in there and I know.
Thank you. Mr. Nerheim.
It is experience, and it's relevant experience for this job that's important. Now, I haven't practiced law for as many years as some of my competitors, but the law that I've practiced and the time that I've been practicing law makes me uniquely qualified for this position. Because again, this is more than just a prosecution job. There's a civil division. It's important that the public trust that decisions, when they are made for the right reasons. And it's that defense attorney experience, it's that civil experience that will help the public know that when I make a decision, it's for the right reasons. I am not a political insider. I don't have any connections. I'm running for this position because it's what I believe in. And when I become state's attorney, I will answer to you, and I will answer to the law.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you. I have 17 years experience inside the office, but also with an outsider's perspective. I've seen the way the office has been run and the way it could be run. And again, I believe the state's attorney of Lake County, in one of the richest counties in America, ought to be a model for every prosecutor's office in the country. And I intend to bring about the changes and the reforms that will make that possible. In addition to my resume, which I'll put up against anybody's, I've also been a school board member for 5 years in Libertyville. We have a AAA bond rating. I'm very accustomed to dealing with the budgetary and administrative aspects. But ultimately, this is about leadership. It's about having the courage to make the changes that are needed. I've been endorsed by Scott Lassar, the former United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, which includes Lake County. I've been endorsed by David Hoffman. I have the independent judgment that is going to be required to have positive partnerships with the agencies that the state's attorney will deal with, and also to be a voice for those who are involved in the system, whether they work in it or whether they are victims or whether they are simply members of the public. If you are not upset about the injustice to the individuals incarcerated wrongly, you should be mad that you've paid for it for all these years. You should be even madder that you might be on the hook for civil judgments that will come about. But the worst part of this, for me, is that there are victims out there who don't need to be victims. People should not have been endangered in the way they have. I intend to change that, and I hope with your support we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matthews.
I'm driven by passion, but I'm guided by justice. I started out my major with law enforcement administration, so I've been in this for the long haul. I'm a 40-year member of Lake County, born and raised. I raised 4 children here. They're still being raised. And my wife, my beautiful wife, we make this our home. I made it through 8 divisions in the State's Attorney's Office, promotion after promotion, so I worked my way to the top. Thursday, September 2011 at 9 p.m., I'm standing in front of a large pane glass window, and I'm looking at my reflection. I look past my reflection, I see the city of Waukegan. It sleeps. But I know that I'm awake, protecting, enforcing the law, those people. I was doing a murder trial, a gang-related murder trial. And I knew that the city was counting on me to bring home what needed to be bring home, and that was justice. And I thought to myself, I said, who should be the next state's attorney? And my mind goes back to that night. It goes back to my reflection. That reflection was me, Reginald C. Matthews, the voice for justice. I had the perfect blend, both as a previous probation officer, where I understood the defendant at their level, and as a prosecutor, where I understand the victim, where I understand society. I've dedicated my whole life to this for 13 years. I've never left you, and I never will.
Thank you. I'd like to ask our candidates to just sit, just be a couple of minutes. First of all, please, a big round of applause for your state's attorney candidates. I'd also like to ask any other candidates that are still around, maybe still in the room, to wave or stand for 3 seconds. Anybody else still around? Yeah, give me a little wave there. Okay. I want to say thank you. I want to say here in Lake County, I'm seeing candidates who are passionate, they're committed, they've got ideas, but let me add something else to that list, which is really a prerequisite, and you are better suited, you know, I hope you're going to go talk to your neighbors because you're among the best educated for these races in the county. Guts. It takes guts these days to put yourself out there, to be filmed, to answer these questions. Nobody had the questions in advance in any of these races. So I hope that you also, like me, really admire anyone who's willing to stand for office, and I'd really like one more round of applause for your candidates. I'd like to thank the Daily Herald, who with also Lake County College were partners with the League of Women Voters of Lake County in putting this on. I'd like to thank the League ladies. They are my favorite people. I'm a member of the League in Evanston, and you know, we say we roll up our sleeves to bring democracy. You know, somebody made the name tags, and somebody poured the water, and somebody taped the banner up, and somebody brought the everything. They got the room, they sent the rules to the candidates, and so for the League of Women Voters of Lake County, please, a big hand. The primary, as those of you in this room know, but I suspect many, many people don't know, is March 20th. Friends don't let friends stay home on election days, so talk it up. We are going to be doing our level best to get all of these in their entirety up on YouTube, and we will send links to all of the candidates and to the newspaper, but by Googling names, you'll be able to find it, or you can call somebody in the League of Women Voters. Maybe they can, most of us are flashing our charming badges, and so maybe you can grab somebody out there if you're worried that you might not be able to find it. There are 3 more fora coming up, all of them sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Lake County. They are doing it with various partners. The dates, and I'll put this piece of paper, I noticed there weren't a lot of them out there necessarily, but Sunday, February 19th, there will be contested races for the state representative of the 58th District, the state senate of the 29th District, the Lake County Board District 13. They're doing that with the Lake Forest Lake Bluff patch. On Sunday, February 26th, it's again contested races for the State Rep 58, State Senate 29th, and the 10th Congressional District. That's February 26th. Sunday, March 4 is the same rundown as today with the Lake Forest Lake Bluff Senior Center and the Lake Forest Lake Bluff patch. I think I didn't say on the 26th, they're doing it with the Union League Club. So if any of you is looking for a little way to get more deeply involved in your community, you see that the League of Women Voters is really where it's at, even if some of us like me aren't the ones who are going to be able to post things to YouTube. We have members, we need members, and so I appreciate being able to do something like this. It's my little league part, but a lot of people brought this together. I think we're going to we'll post the forums. If there are any bloggers here who would like to also be sure that we have your contact information so we can send you the links. And otherwise, one more round of applause for all of us. Yay us on Sunday.